Hello students, today we are starting with our part 3 of ultrasound lecture series. In this part we are talking about different mode of application of ultrasound. So there are two modes of ultrasound application. One is continuous mode and another is pulsed. The name itself suggests continuous means there is a continuous delivery of ultrasound energy throughout the treatment period, that you can see in the graph. And in pulsed ultrasound there is a delivery of ultrasound only during a portion of the treatment period. So there is some interval where there is no energy will be emitted from the head of the ultrasound. So this is called pulsed ultrasound. So whenever we are using pulsed mode, the thermal effect which we get from the ultrasound, which is very less. Mainly we are using continuous mode in chronic conditions, and for the acute condition we prefer pulsed ultrasound. So there are two options or you can say two terms to express pulse mode when we are setting a dosage or when we are writing a dosage. One is duty cycle, or you can say mark space ratio, which is expressed in a percentage or ratio. So what is the duty cycle? Duty cycle is proportion of a total treatment time that the ultrasound is on, and this can be expressed in a percentage or a ratio. Suppose if we say 1:4 duty cycle, then total 5 minutes of treatment we are giving 1 minute of treatment in which the ultrasound energy will be emitted, and remaining 4 minutes there is no ultrasound energy will be emitted totally, right? So only 20% of time the treatment is on, and 80% of time the treatment or energy does not emit from the ultrasound head. So here you have different options for the pulsed ratio. There is, if we opt continuous mode, then you can say there is 100%. So if you are giving for 5 minutes continuous mode, so there is total 5 minutes the energy is delivered to the tissue. But if you are selecting the pulse mode, and if you are selecting a duty cycle 50%, then your pulse ratio is be 1:1. So for 5 minutes you are total giving treatment, so in 2.5 minutes there is a off time, and 2.5 minutes there is a on time where the energy is delivered to the tissue. Same way we have option of 1:2, 1:3, 1:4 and 1:9. Now if we talk physiological effect of ultrasound modality, as we know what is physiological effect. Whenever we are applying any modality to the tissue, what changes occurs in the tissue is known as the physiological effect of that modality. If we are giving ultrasonic energy to the tissue, as we know the sonic energy is converted into the heat energy. So if this energy is not dissipated by the normal physiological response, then there is a local rise in the temperature, and which is known as a thermal effect. And if the heat dissipation equals the heat generation, then there is no net rise in the temperature. So this effect is known as non-thermal. So through ultrasound we can produce thermal as well as non-thermal effect. If we want to produce non-thermal effect more, then we must uh, use low intensity and pulsed output of ultrasound. Now let us understand which thermal effect we gain with the ultrasound. So the best advantage to use ultrasound to achieve heating through ultrasound is we get preferential heating of the collagen tissue and effective penetration of the energy to the deeply placed structure. So we can effectively uh, treat the deeply situated structures through ultrasound by thermal effect. Thermal effect increases the tissue extensibility uh, by temporary increase in the extensibility of the capsule, ligament, tendons, and also in the scar tissue. So ultimately reduces the joint stiffness and scar stiffness. And again, the mild heating can also have the effect of reducing pain and muscle spasm by local vasodilatation. So locally there is increase in the blood flow and there is locally increase in the metabolic rate, which uh, leads to increase in the auto demand and increase the drainage of the metabolites, which ultimately reduces the pain and muscle spasm and promoting healing process. So this is the thermal effect of ultrasound, right? Now let us see non-thermal effect of ultrasound. Now let us learn about non-thermal effect of ultrasound. In non-thermal effect we have cavitation, then acoustic streaming, then standing waves and micro massage effect. Now let us understand what is cavitation. Cavitation is the formation of tiny gas bubbles in the tissue as a result of ultrasound vibration, and these bubbles are very tiny and generally of micron diameter. There are two types. One is stable cavitation and another is non-stable, or you can say transient cavitation. Stable cavitation occurs when the bubbles oscillate to and fro within the ultrasound pressure wave, but they remain intact. And transient cavitation occurs when the volume of bubble changes rapidly and then collapse, which causes high pressure and high temperature changes and resulting in a gross damage to the tissue. So stable cavitation associated with the acoustic streaming is considered to have therapeutic value, but transient cavitation, which is only likely to occur at high intensity and can be damaging. So here you can see the figure where there is a formation of bubble because of the ultrasonic oscillation, right? So there is a stable cavitation and another is unstable cavitation, which increases in size and suddenly collapse, and which is harmful to the tissue if unstable cavitation forms, right? So in practice we should avoid the non-stable cavitation by using low intensity below 4 watt per centimeter square, using pulse mode of ultrasound and moving the treatment head. Now another non-thermal effect is acoustic streaming. What is acoustic streaming? Acoustic streaming is a steady circulatory flow in the fluid due to the absorption of the acoustic oscillation. Additionally, as a result of either type of cavitation, there is a localized unidirectional fluid movement around the vibratory bubble. These very small fluid movement also occur around the cells, tissue fibers and other boundaries, which is known as microstreaming. So, microstreaming leads to stress on the cell membrane, which ultimately increase the cell membrane permeability and alters the rate of ion diffusion, which is therapeutically useful changes. Includes increase in the mast cell secretion, increase in the calcium uptake and increase the production of macrophages, which cumulatively increase or accelerate the healing process or repair process. Now the another non-thermal effect is standing waves. We already learned about standing wave in reference with reflection, right? So standing waves are due to reflected waves being superimposed on the incident wave. As we know, the some amount of sonic energy will be reflected back at the boundary. So whenever this reflected wave is superimposed on the incident wave, they form a stationary wave or a standing wave with the peak of high pressure. This pressure pattern causes the stasis of the cells in the blood vessels. The endothelium of the blood vessels, when exposed to the standing waves, they can also lead to damage and form the thrombus. And there is also possibility of the marked local hitting where the amplitude of combined wave is high. So if we continuously move the transducer head or a treatment head, there is less chances of formation of the standing waves. So to avoid the standing waves, we should continuously move the treatment head. So the last non-thermal effect is micromassage effect. The micromassage effect of ultrasound occurs at a cellular level where the cells are alternatively compressed and then pulled further apart. The waves of compression and rarefaction may produce a form of micromassage which could reduce edema. So the ultrasound can be effective to reduce recent traumatic edema and also uh, to reduce chronic indurated edema. Now, therapeutic uses of ultrasound therapy. Principally, it is used for the wound healing, mainly in conditions like pressure ulcers and varicose vein ulcers. Now, let us understand what is pressure ulcers. You can say buccobital ulcer, or you can say bed sore, or you can say pressure ulcers. These are the ulcer over the skin surface when the area where the pressure comes due to the prolonged position. So this is mainly due to the pressure or a friction or shearing force and mainly occurs in a patient who are mainly in a bedridden conditions. So in the condition of pressure source it is useful. Then in case of varicose vein ulcers, if you can say venous ulcers, and these occurs in the lower limbs due to the abnormal veins. Generally the veins have valves, so the deoxygenated blood can go upward to the heart through the valve presence in the veins, but due to the abnormal vein, or you can say uh, weak vein, the valve become weakened, so the deoxygenated blood is not uh, going to up in going to the heart, and there is accumulation of the deoxygenated blood which may lead to pressure over the skin, and skin become itchy, dry and scaly, and leads to ulcers. This is known as venous ulcers. So in case of venous ulcers, the ultrasound modality is useful for the healing of these ulcers, right? The next principal therapeutic use is for the acute soft tissue injury, mainly uh, ligament injury, or you can say uh, tendon injury or muscle injury in case of sports, right? So it is very useful. Then in the case of scar tissue healing, mainly departure, contracture, or plantar fasciitis. So it may increase the extensibility of the scar and promote the healing of the scar. It is also useful in the bony injury, mainly in case of non-union and delayed union. But here the machine design and parameters are different from the therapeutic ultrasound. It is also useful in the chronic indurated edema, and also useful in a pain relief condition, mainly like deep situated pain in prolapse intervertebral disc or SI joint pain. So you can use ultrasound. Now, contraindications. So, in which conditions we are not using ultrasound therapy? So, mainly when there is a tumors, because ultrasound may increase or provoke the metastasis. So, avoid in case of tumors. Then, in case of pregnant uterus, then epiphyseal plate. So, avoid in a children to, because it may impeded the bone growth, right? In case of acute infection, ultrasound may lead to spread of infection, as ultrasound increases the cell permeability, so there is a chances of spreading of the infectious foci due to the increase in the cell permeability. So avoid in case of acute infections. Also avoid in a tuberculosis, because there is a chances or risk of reactivating the encapsulated lesions of a TB. Ultrasound is also contraindicated in presence of the vascular problems, mainly hemorrhage, hemophilia, hematoma, in case of ischemia and venous thrombosis, and hemarthrosis. Hemarthrosis is occurs in case of injury. There is a bleeding inside the joint. Next is in case of radiotherapy. If patient has took radiotherapy treatment in near past, then we should avoid ultrasound in that cases. Another contraindication in the patient with spina bifida or after laminectomy, ultrasound should be avoided. We should also take care to avoid cervical ganglia or vagus nerve in the case of cardiac disease. And another precaution when we are treating the tissue like eyes and gonads, we should avoid exposure of ultrasound over the eyes and gonads, right? Then in case of implants, if there is a metal bond fixing subcutaneously, you can give ultrasound with precaution, with low dose and pulsed mode. And in case of cardiac pacemaker, it is absolutely contraindicated because it may interfere with the pacemaker stimulating frequency, and in case of anesthetic areas we should avoid high dose of ultrasound over the anesthetic area to avoid the thermal effect, right? So now dangers of ultrasound therapy, they includes burns. This occurs due to the shear waves at the boundaries, then the tissue destruction, and this occurs due to the standing waves, then the blood cell stasis and endothelial damage. This occurs due to the transient cavitation. These all may occur if we are using high intensity of ultrasound therapy, continuous mode, if we are not moving treatment head continuously during the treatment, and we are giving ultrasound on the bony prominence. So whenever we are giving ultrasound therapy, we should keep in mind all these domains to eliminate the dangers. So now let us quickly summarize the part 3 of this lecture series. So first, in this lecture we have done with continuous mode and pulsed mode. In that we have two terms, one is duty cycle and max pace ratio in reference with the treatment time, right? Then we have therapeutic effects. Before that we have done a physiological effect, which includes thermal effect and non-thermal effect. If we want more the thermal effect, then we have to use continuous mode. If we want to more the mechanical effect or non-thermal effect, then we have to use pulsed mode to dissipate the heat, right? So accordingly we can choose our mode of application of ultrasound, right? In the therapeutic physiological effect, we have thermal effect, that is similar with the physiological effect of heat, which includes increased extensibility of the tissue, then increase the blood supply over the area, and third is increase the healing process, right? And in non-thermal effect we have cavitation, then standing waves, micro massage effect, and acoustic streaming, which again increase the healing process, right? So this is about physiological effect. Then we learn about the therapeutic uses, mainly in the acute soft tissue injuries, scar tissue healing, and in the wound healing, right, predominantly. Then we have the contraindications and dangers of the ultrasound, right? So this part is clear to you. So thank you.